Hi, I'm Ashok. I'm here with Bhaskar, who's our manager, publishing workflow. Bhaskar has been with us for 7 years, Bhaskar.
Yes,
And he is considered to be an InDesign guru. So Bhaskar's focus is basically to make sure that the automation in the publishing workflow transcends and goes across from the manuscript to InDesign. And they've been working on this very interesting concept that's integral to page magic, which is reducing the number of styles that will be used in a book without compromising on the design of the book, which means that you can actually have 50 or 60 styles in the book, yet the whole approach to getting those styles into the book is simplified. So, Bhaskar, let's start with you explaining what is it that you do at Page Magic.
So I've been taking care of InDesign automation, and my focus is on simplifying the workflow while getting greater automation results.
It's an interesting word you use, simplifying, and we recognize how difficult simplification is, isn't it?
Yes.
So tell us, reducing the number of styles, it's a simplification at a great level. What made you come up with the idea? What was the reason to simplify it at that level itself? What was going on in your mind?
So when you look at the publishing workflow, you can see the person who is tagging the manuscript has been spending a lot of time just to do the tagging. So they will recognize the styles, and when it comes to some special elements, they will remember the house styles. So for me, there's a challenge where they've been spending a lot of time. So I just wanted to bring a solution where they can focus more on content, instead of instead of focusing on the styles. So it is
But we understand that. So your solution takes care of any kind of genre of book, right?
Yeah.
And it also takes care of different book styles. So you're not telling your customer saying that you have to dumb down the design or you have to have a design of a particular kind. You're actually giving them a free hand. What was complex about that? The fact that you're allowing them to have a complex design, yet you're guaranteeing them a simple approach and interface to tagging for that particular book.
So when it comes to design of any book, you will have to first go through the design. So you may be having a different design for each and every book. So you may not be remembering this design and the styles that have been used for a particular design. So you have to make sure to go through or refer to the design for each and every element, and then you have to come back to the manuscript, the actual manuscript, and then you have to do the styling. So there are chances where you can introduce the error. You may be recognizing the styles correctly, but you may be entering the wrong style when you tag that. So the solution that we are bringing here, whenever you recognize what part of the element that you are going to do, so you just tag that, and our automation will take care of recognizing what part of the design it has to be in.
I see. So you're talking about saying that they identify functional parts of the manuscript,
Yep.
and the design is then taken care to the automation. So heading is a heading irrespective of what they call it. That's
correct. That's correct. Yeah.
What about complex things like stack headings, and what about things like boxes and all of that? Is that also dealt with, or is that something that you will say that you can't deal with in Page Magic?
No, it has been dealt with. So again, so you have to just when you look at the output of the PDF, so you can see there's a vertical space between head 1 and head 2, and you may want to reduce the space between these two elements. So in that case, you have to remember what style has to be applied for the head level 2 that follows head 1. In Page Magic, you don't have to remember all those things. So you have to just say this is head 1, this is head 2. When it goes to our Page Magic automation, the automation system will recognize this is heading 2 follows by head 1. And the solution that we have brought in will identify that and will reduce the space by applying the auto style that has been defined within InDesign automation.
I see. That's very clever. So the other challenge is when a publisher has boxes. They have a lot of boxes, so they have these floating elements.
Yeah.
And let's assume that I have 4 or 5 types of boxes, and my boxes are different colors. So do I have to say, heading in the box? Do I have to say this is heading 1 red color, heading 1 blue color? Do I have to say this heading for box 1 this and box 1? Do I have to do that? or do you have a more elegant way of solving
That's a
that?
good question. So you don't have to again remember everything. So say for example, we have a box called case study, and your design says this is a style of case study head one, and this is case study bullet list, case study number list, and so on. So, but when you look at the manuscript, when you do the tagging, you have to remember whether this is a case study and what style has to be applied. Whether is this, I mean, if you have more than one box or if you have more box elements within your design, then you will be getting confused to apply the style. So when it comes to page magic, you don't just apply what you recognize as text. So in this case, whether it is box or whether it is a main text, you don't just apply what element it is, whether it is heading, whether it is list, whether it is a text, whether it is extract. By just grouping the elements with what design it is going to be. Say for example, in this case, when I mentioned case study, so in this case, you will be having a design called case study. You have to just apply the group style called case study, but you don't have to apply a specific style for each and every element within this particular block. So all you have to do is just apply whatever you recognize.
I see. So that means, are you saying that what would you estimate in number of styles that are being saved for the person who's tagging and the person who's working in design? Would you say that you're saving on 30, 40, 50% or 60% of the styles that they would need to know, or is it as high as maybe 80% of the styles they would need to know?
I would say it is as much as 80%, where if you look at the traditional workflow, so you have to spend maybe a couple of hours to 4 hours, or in sometimes you may have to spend a day or more just for tagging the elements. I mean, just you have to recognize the styles and then you have to remember the design and then you have to apply the styles. So, but to my knowledge, it may take a couple of hours to 4 hours to just tag these elements. When it comes to page magic, you don't just apply the styles, without focusing more on the styles. Just focus on the content and do the styling.
I
So
see.
it will save you more time.
I see. And what about the number of styles? So the percentage of reduction in number of styles, is that only 500 styles in a particular book? Are you saying that the person tagging has to only focus on what, 15, 20, 30 styles?
That's
Is
correct.
that the kind of saving?
Yeah. So you don't have to remember all these 500 styles. Maybe you'll have to remember just a subset of styles. Again, I don't say you have to remember. You have to recognize the style and then you have to say whether it is head 1 or head 2 and so on. So there is no need for you to remember anything. As you recognize it, just do the styling.
So publisher who has a series, or who runs a series of books, normally what will happen is they will then tend to give the series to the same team of people because they know the styles, they know all of that. So what you're saying to me that in page magic, one doesn't have to do that. As long as they identify functional elements, everything else get taken. Is that what you're saying? I mean, is it as simple as that?
That's that. You don't have to know the InDesign to do the styling when it goes into InDesign. The person who don't know InDesign at all, you just go through the document and then just apply the style. You don't have to get the knowledge of InDesign to apply the styles within InDesign. You have to just apply the styles.
I see. That's really interesting. So you have covered this and more in your blog, right? I mean, what are the headings that you use in your blog? Why should somebody read your blog? What else does it have?
So it's generally saving the time. So if you look at the challenge or when you look at the problem, the initial problem that whoever tagging, whether it's a publisher, whether it's a designer who is designing with an InDesign, or whether it's a design operator who is styling anything in InDesign. So you have to remember the styles, you have to apply the styles everywhere. Whether it is your Word document or whether it is your InDesign document, you have to remember. You have to always refer to the design and make sure that you are applying the correct style to the manuscript. Okay, so we come up with a solution of just applying the styles without worrying the design.
I see. That's very interesting. Okay, excellent. Thank you for sharing all of this, and hope many people read your blog and enjoy what you've written. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope that you find Bhaskar's blog as intriguing, as interesting as I did, and you can explore how using technologies as what Bhaskar described makes page magic efficient and saves a lot of time for you. Thank you. Bye-bye.